All right. Our YouTube stream has just started. And our first slide tonight is an announcement that Jay is going to share with us about the Coney Island 3D photo contest. Jay, why don't you take it away?
Yeah. So this was kind of a last minute thing. We were hoping to do a live stream, but figured a contest would be a great way to leverage the publicity and get more people involved in 3D. Uh, Still trying to recruit prizes, etc. But basically, it's for pictures taken at the parade in Coney Island. And we're not officially connected because we don't have $3,000. But the idea is we'll pass out these postcards to people taking pictures, and then usually that night and next couple of days, people are posting their pictures. So we'll just hop on social media and say, hey, enter the contest. You can even do conversions. And I think this could be a great way to really get people more aware of what could be done in 3D.
And will there be
I've got
a
some.
show?
We'll narrow it down to like 20 finalists, and then the opening show of the New York group will present them, give people a week to view them, and then the following show will have the audience vote. So this way also try to get people to attend the meeting.
Yeah, okay.
And also so they can't just flood votes over the week.
I've got some nice photos of a parade, but it's not this year, of course. It's
Yeah,
a couple years ago.
we'll probably in the future do something like more open. But I think the idea was that as people post, we can hit their social media and have them, do a conversion or, learn more about 3D. Yeah, and could definitely use help on social media publicizing this, and and judges. We'll need judges after August 1st. So
Well,
I'll
Jay,
be putting out a general call for volunteers next week.
yeah, I will not be able to make it to Coney Island on the 22nd. I would be happy to volunteer to judge if you're looking for judges.
Absolutely, judges, just people to contact on social media. Because there's usually like hundreds of people posting pictures.
Well, put me on your list. That sounds like a lot of fun reviewing those photos. There's likely to be some gems in there.
hmm
And the New York Stereoscopic Association is celebrating its 10th anniversary. That's pretty
Yep.
substantial.
Yeah.
A lot has happened in stereo imaging in the past 10 years.
hmm Oh, and this week, a few new cameras were announced.
We spent a few moments looking at that Acer camera. Do you know anything about it?
No, not. I mean, Hugh Howe does reviews. Josh just reviewed the Spatial and said it was kind of garbage. But then Canon would release its new lens for 180. Well, actually, it's 140, but it uses a Type C camera, so it's only $1,000. Which,
So this differs from the VR 180 lens that they were selling.
yeah, they're still selling the one that needs a full frame camera. This one works with a Type C
Oh, I see.
camera,
So basically a less expensive Canon
much less expensive,
camera.
not as wide a field of view, but it's still compatible.
And how's the spacing on this? Have you I'm sure you haven't had a chance to
I don't
evaluate
know
it.
anything.
Heard
Yeah,
Well-
these all just came out this week.
Yeah. This is, another exciting time for stereo. We've got some new cameras. We've got these auto stereo displays. We've got these great conversion tools. I'm not holding my breath about these cameras, but it's good to know that manufacturers are still trying. I personally feel they still haven't matched the W3, and the W3 isn't a great camera, but hey, that's just my opinion. Well, thank you, Jay, and best of luck with that contest. I hope it'd be great if this inspired some people to experiment with 3D photography. All right. Welcome, Bob. I saw you come in.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Bob, for some reason, whenever I reply to your email, it always bounces back. So I don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm just unable to get in touch with you for some reason. We'll have to
Really
work something out. Yeah.
Can you send? Well, I was going to say, can you send me a screen grab of it? But if you can't get through to me, yeah. Well, I don't know what. I have two email addresses. There's the RGB3D at Comcast and also RGBDDD at yahoo.com. So maybe try the other one.
I'll try the Comcast one. Yeah. Long story
Yeah. No,
short,
I rely
glad
on
you
your
made it.
poking. Emails saying there's a meeting coming up, so I can be reminded of it.
Yeah.
I know I should look at my calendar.
Well, thanks for making it. I'm very glad to have you.
Sure.
Let's
and happy birthday.
Oh, little late there, but sure.
Hey,
I'll take it.
I made a custom image for you.
I know you were actually on time. It's fine. I appreciate it.
Hey, we don't celebrate birthdays here. Maybe that's something we should start doing.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, then I'd have to ask for everyone's birthday. Peter is already relieving the room, so okay, maybe that spontaneous idea needs some thinking. But happy birthday, Bob.
Well, thank you.
It's great to have you.
I'm not on board with that either.
What was that, Melinda?
I'm not on board with the birthday thing. Not because I'm getting old, which is true, but it just seems like a waste of time.
Celebrating birthdays?
Yeah, it's not humbug.
Yeah. The problem with that is that then every meeting we end up celebrating a birthday and sort of loses
but that means cake.
Magic. Right. Virtual cake.
Yeah. Well, I'll take any kind.
The
less fat.
Let me share my screen again here, and let's move on to some photos. So we're going to start off with our special. As I said, it's kind of a small group. Wasn't the most popular topic. Okay, thanks, feedback received. But we did get some very interesting entries. My own entries actually didn't turn out. I tried, but they were that bad. We will start with one much better than the ones that I tried, and it's by Jack. And the title is Ancient Cemetery. And Jack, I think you did figure out what this subject was about.
Is this what it was about? Yeah, I had a hard time with this one. I only turned in one photo. I think this was something I shot at the San Francisco Museum of Fine Arts or whatever it is, and it was it's an ancient one from someplace, I don't know, but obviously they were working on symmetry back then, so I don't know if this meets the rules or not, but that's as close as I could come.
I think it meets the rules.
I'm curious, how deep was the actual sculpture? Here it looks very pronounced.
Oh, I exaggerated maybe 2 times.
Uh-huh.
There was also some stuff that was sticking out on the right end that on one side and not on the other, so I cleaned up some of that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Jack, in my perception, it looks squeezed like a CinemaScope film projected with a normal lens. Is this the way the sculpture actually looked, or is it more narrower than original?
I understand what you said too well, but I think made it taller.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier, because they look like kind of Giacometti sculptures. They look very elongated.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't want to body shame them, but I'm just curious.
They had longer legs back in those days, I think.
Yeah.
Before they invented pants too, I guess.
Hey, Melinda, I'm getting a lot of feedback from your microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Your volume is good, but you're a little hard to understand.
I'm not sure if it's feedback. There's a lot of echo or something. There's something. It sounds like your head's in a tin can.
That's not good. Yeah, I'm not getting any side tone either, which is disturbing to me. I'm gonna re-log in and also restart my headset. See
Sure,
if
yeah. I wonder if maybe
that'll help.
just switch to another microphone or something. But yeah, that sounds like I would probably do something.
Yeah, I'll restart some stuff. I might have to you might have to skip my image for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll come back to you if you're going to drop off. And speaking of which, Melinda's photo is actually the next one. But before we move on, did we hear all the comments about Jack's photo? Jack, this is very hyper. It works. It definitely alters the image in a really interesting way. Certainly seeing it differently than you would in real life. So let's skip Melinda's folding chairs. We'll be right back to that. We have 4 entries by Oleg, and we're going to hear about all of them. Oleg, if you're with us, let's hear about... Well, let me let Melinda back in here first. Oleg, tell us about Gate to Property at Highway 154.
The only thing that's really meets the but anyway, it's just the fence that is what do we call it?
The cemetery?
Symmetry, yeah. So I was driving along trying to find something, and this is the closest I could get.
This was probably the hardest special topic we've ever had.
I'm logged back in now. Does it sound any better?
You sound much better.
Oh, good. I think I had to choose a different microphone.
Yeah, now you sound crystal clear.
Great, thanks.
And you haven't missed anything, and we will look at your photo after we go through Oleg's.
Okay, on this one, there is kind of a symmetry on the left end versus the right end, except it's kind of a diagonal symmetry. On the left, the trees are in front of the gate, and on the right, they're behind the gate.
Ah. Yeah, that's definitely symmetrical. Oleg, did you use shadow highlights or any other filters on this one?
Oh, I used everything.
Everything, of course.
I do. I changed all the colors a bit, Uh, it, each one takes about 4 hours.
Well, I was going to say the exposure is really nice. I like being able to, see in those shadows and no burning
The
highlights.
shadows, I like using uh, okay, my brain doesn't work.
Well, it'll come to you. Don't think too hard because we've got another one by you coming up. Actually, let's look at that right now. The title of our next entry by Oleg in our symmetry topic is Entrance to Women's Lingerie Store.
Yeah, and here the only symmetry is the framing of the window and the door. Even the door is open. That's not symmetrical. But at least the edges of the thing are symmetrical.
The lights in the ceiling are symmetrical.
The what?
The lights in the ceiling.
The lights in the ceiling.
Oh yeah. Originally,
Did you change the color in this much?
no, I just made sure all the colors came out.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's all sort of pastel.
Washed out on the high end though.
It looks good. What I do is I preview it on my TV, and other people who are using different device will not get the same effect.
Oh,
Why didn't you do a close up on the braziers? I mean, that would be a natural symmetry, I would think.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of old fashioned. I like to have everything behind the window.
Well, this one looks really good on my Lume Pad. I love compositions where you're actually looking through a window as well.
I didn't like the way the Lume Pad treated me. I want the window to be at the surface of the device rather, but Lume Pad by default puts it forward of the window.
Well, I think the Lume Pad is very sensitive, maybe even more sensitive than a 3D TV. It definitely emphasizes those kinds of airs. And of course, it really wants to put things in front of the window too. This one works well on the Lume Pad because because it's such a low contrast photo. For me, the Lume Pad really kind of fails when there are dark shadows or high contrast subjects. But enough about the Lume Pad. I think the photo stands on its own. Oleg's next submission for our symmetry topic is hangars at the Santa Paula Airport.
Yeah, this is interesting to me because of the hangars are symmetrical, so at least they were when the thing was built, but that was like 20 years ago, maybe more. And since then, every one of the buildings, left and right, have been changed.
And you've got that dividing down right down the middle, that dividing line.
I was having a lot of trouble at my brother's place because of the uh, June gloom. It was the sun never came out. Period. At least here where I live, in the morning you have the fog and then it goes away. But there, it is there most of May and June.
I wish there was something in the road to give it more of a sense of depth.
Well, if there's any traffic, then I would have captured.
Yeah.
Or if there's somebody walking there. But that's what I have to work with.
Even a traffic cone would help.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't carry a cone just
Yeah,
for that.
you don't drive around with a traffic cone in your car.
No. By the way, that I like the red car at the end of the picture. And I was hoping as I got closer to get him bigger, but he drove away.
It looks like there's not very much depth at all, except in the lines in the road. The buildings all seem to be on the same plane.
Come here to my home and see it in a 3D TV.
Yeah, I'm sure that magnifies it a lot.
There's some noticeable depth in the roofs.
Yeah, I don't know. When I use the easy adjustment window, I can align all the roofs so there's no red or blue lines sticking out. So it's pretty flat. But the foreground lines definitely give it a 3D effect. It's just on the whole, it's not a lot.
This is about the 1/30th is the for when you're looking in the old days, more than 1/30th was too much depth. And this is about 1/30th.
1/30th of the background. Is that true?
1/30th of the window, window.
Let's see. Yeah, that might almost be true of the background, but if you put the stereo window all the way back, and there's sort of no separation.
I think this one would definitely have more perceived depth if there was some sort of a middle ground subject, somebody walking or a car or Oleg doing a selfie.
Or a duck.
Or a duck. Oleg's final submission of the evening for our special topic is Marin County Hall and its model.
Yeah, unfortunately, the model they offset, they didn't put it in the center. So that's not, it's symmetrical on its own, separate from the symmetry of the hallway.
Now, this one has a lot of good depth throughout. Does it look exaggerated on the TV?
It looks fine.
It looks really nice on my Lume Pad, and I like how the miniature case is slightly through the window. That's just about perfect. Of course,
Yeah,
you
those
got,
reflections are really trippy too.
yeah, this could
They
also
turn-
work in like a reflection special. Well, these are really nice, Oleg. This is a really challenging topic. You were one of the few who were able to come up with 4 compositions. Very well done.
Thank
I,
you.
I'm going to go back. Oleg, we're not done with you yet. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to go back because we're going to hear from Melinda. So don't mind the flashing screen. And of course, if you're following along on YouTube, it'll take 10, 15 seconds to catch up. But this is Melinda's. The title is Folding Chairs.
Yeah, it's the only recent picture I took that showed off any kind of symmetry. This is kind of your standard one-dimensional moire pattern like you get with orchards and things like that. And I like the kind of multiple sight lines you get looking through the gaps. It would be nice if it was a lot more chairs. This was just a small little setup outside of a church, I guess, for weddings or something. But a good subject for the hydrogen one.
Yeah, it's got plenty of depth. Any other camera would be too wide a base.
Yeah, you could just do a cha-cha, but it's definitely a low effort image.
Yeah, I bet this one would work well in black and white too. It's fairly monochromatic as it is.
Let's see how do we do that. I don't know how to do that right now. Stereo photo maker, unless somebody knows.
I don't know off the top of my head. I need to memorize these keyboard shortcuts, and I still haven't updated mine since last week, so that's how far behind I am. You know what's nice? I think this one really works.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Melinda. We're going to jump ahead now. Past Oleg's 4, we're going to go to photo number 7 in our slideshow, and this is by Steve. And the title of Steve's first entry is Colorful Book.
Okay, yeah, I think this is in a glass case in the LA County Museum. It might be MoMA. I can't remember if I didn't write it down in the title, but I think it's the LA County Museum. I kind of like the colors of it, but other than painting out some of the more glaring reflections, I didn't do a lot with this.
It's very symmetrical. Is it a book?
It's not a book. It's a sculpture of a book. I don't know what it's made out of. It could be made out of paper, but I don't think you can turn the pages. And I assume those are just some boxes in the background, but gives it a little extra depth. This is with the W3.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say
This kind of subject could easily be done over as a cha-cha.
it's got good depth. One thing I kind of like about it is that you could slightly see the reflection of the photographer in the photo on the glass case.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
I guess you could say that adds a human element to it. And that human element is pretty symmetrical too. You are standing right in front of it.
This worked out that way.
I guess that's a bonus symmetry, reflective symmetry. Steve's next symmetry photo is titled Egyptian Columns.
Self-explanatory. Looking through one of the temples and had some columns which were taller at one time, but they've kind of broken off in a kind of a symmetrical way. But it definitely has depth.
Yeah, it's got some depth. Did you crop into this? It looks a little soft, the details, looking at the people by
I
those columns.
don't recall what I did, although if I cropped it, it probably wasn't much. Yeah, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, it's a W3, which, maybe that's those sensors you dislike so passionately, not doing their job. Although the lens on the W3 is not bad. I don't know. If I looked at it on the TV, it's just a lot more effort for me to get these on a TV. So I end up just using, these things on my computer.
It's a different experience on the TV.
Yeah, maybe I should bite the bullet and figure out how to get these images onto my TV.
Yeah, the word that I use, that I have already used tonight, is unforgiving. Any flaw in your stereo base, in your editing, in your cloning, in your alignment, it's just very evident. Steve's last entry for tonight. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's the next to last. This is LACM Lots of Lights.
Yeah, this is definitely LA County Museum. It's pretty famous sculpture in the forecourt. I definitely juiced up the contrast and the do they call it sharpness or clarity? There's a clarity button that operates slightly differently than the sharpness, and it seemed to give you a little bit more definition of the columns. I think I'd get better depth if they weren't quite so close together, but this is what I got. I might have, these are all with the W3. It'd be interesting if I go back there, if this is still there, to try some cha-chas.
Yeah, I think it could use a wider base.
Yeah.
I would try this one in black and white too. This one is almost there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why even, it's may as well be black and white now. I would submit it, if you had a black and white contest, I would submit it as is.
You
Even the
could,
background, the
yes.
car doesn't even have any color in it.
The wet ground, I think, adds to the atmosphere of this also, and that would might even be enhanced in black and white. But yeah, other than those two tree trunks, this one is definitely symmetrical.
Right.
And there's two, so there's a certain kind of symmetry.
Yeah, you could
What I
argue
would
that.
usually do on a picture like this is use the horizontal uh, control uh, so the picture doesn't lean.
Well, I thought I did. I know the tree is leaning, but I believe the columns are straight.
Well, they're leaning too on the right side.
Are they leaning?
Yeah.
Well, that's a lens thing. What about the one in the middle? Is that leaning?
No, no.
Well, see, if I adjusted the one on the right, then the one in the middle would lean the other way.
No, you can by coordinating with the um, uh, anyway, you can have both things working with two different.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I could use some kind of a skew command, but since the middle one is straight up and down, I think it is. Then the other one is at least natural. It's a naturally occurring kind of lens tilt. So I don't know if people are bothered by it. It's I'm certainly not bothered by it. It's kind of like a wide angle lens effect.
Yeah, you could use like a spherical correction or a pin. I think in Stereo Photomaker, it's called the pincushion tool or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah, that's right. I forgot that Stereo Photomaker has those controls. That is true. That'd be an interesting thing to try. Thanks for that suggestion, Oleg and Matt.
And even using the distortion tool in Photoshop, bringing in the left and right and selecting part of the image if you want to do that. It's a little more work, but I've done that on some images.
I'd have to find the corresponding tool in Affinity. I don't use Photoshop anymore.
And of course, these aren't errors or flaws. This is how the camera captured it. This is the lens and your zoom settings on your W3. So I wouldn't say that these are errors that need to be fixed, but they might enhance the photo.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm really interested in that kind of thing. That may work. That may improve it.
Love the texture on the palm tree there on the left.
Yeah, it does help a little.
I don't know if there's any detail that can be brought out on the one on the right to echo that.
It's definitely a different trade, but yeah, if I highlighted that, I could probably lighten it so whatever's in there would show up. I could increase the contrast and increase the clarity, and that would be interesting.
Yeah, I like the way it echoes the top of the lights there, all the detail there has a kind of similar geometry.
Boosting the shadows might be enough.
Might be.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a touch to bring out some detail in that. There's also, Photoshop Creative Cloud the camera raw filter has a geometry tool that would really straighten these right up, but it would likely introduce some distortion too that you wouldn't have any control over. I've been playing with that tool, and it's kind of hit or miss. I would start with, yeah, those distortion tools that Bob was talking about, and whatever Affinity has. Were you to make any changes to this? But it's nice.
Thanks. Thanks for all the suggestions.
And Steve, we have one more from you for tonight. This is Paris, Vegas.
Yeah, and this one actually does look a little soft to me, but it's another W3. This is, of course, in the Paris Hotel in Las Vegas, and it has kind of a symmetrical design. This had a ton of reflections of the window. I think you'd see some of the reflections, but I painted a bunch out, did some cloning, and had to kind of distort the clone because of the curvature of the sculpture. So there's probably little flaws in there because of that. But I was pretty proud of it, that it wasn't too glaring.
Oh yeah, lots of depth in this one. Like you said, it's a little soft, but I think that's more to do with just the low light. It's just sort of grainy, a bit more grain, but it's certainly not distracting for me, at least.
Thanks. You can see some people. I guess that's a reflection way in the back there.
Yeah, there's definitely someone there. This
Yeah,
one,
Vegas is full of cool stuff.
yeah. So the way I view these, I have our anaglyph stream going next to our half-width side-by-side stream, next to a full-width side-by-side screen share. And, sometimes the anaglyph is a little better. Sometimes I've got the half-width side-by-side of my Lume Pad. Sometimes that's just the best device. This one really doesn't work as well as an anaglyph because of just the colors of the subject. I mean, there's plenty of depth, but it really loses something.
Well, are you doing a color
colors.
anaglyph?
It's a red cyan half color anaglyph.
Yeah, the half color. Yeah, if you have red in your image, if you turn this into a monochrome, I think the anaglyph would work.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there was some movie. Maybe it was Gorilla at Large. Is that a color movie?
Gorilla at Large is a color movie. Yeah.
They showed it on TV in a half anaglyph, half color, and it was painful to watch because Anne Bancroft, I think it was Anne Bancroft, was wearing a red dress through a large part of the movie, and it was like, oh no, this is not good.
Well, it would have been full color, right? Like a full color anaglyph.
Well, it was on TV.
On
It was
TV,
not
right?
side by side. It was was it full color anaglyph? That's even worse.
I
I
imagine.
think you're right. I think that's what they did.
Yeah.
This was probably 20 years ago.
Because Gorilla at Large was a Technicolor movie, wasn't it? I'm sure they wouldn't. Well, I'm not sure of anything, but Yeah, they didn't care about such things too much when they were broadcasting anaglyph movies on TV. You were on your own. You had to
It's like
find your
nobody
own
even bothered.
viewers. You had to put up with it. You had to suffer the consequences of a headache. We had it rough back then.
It's like nobody bothered to look at it before they put it on the air.
They looked at it and they said, "Oh, my head hurts. This is great. It's working. It's doing something to me."
What's your head hurts? It's 3D.
That's the thought that they put into it. Yes.
Has that been? That's not been put on Blu-ray, has it?
Not yet. No. I was going to ask if anyone knows when the 3D Film Archive is going to restore that one. I haven't read anything. And who knows if the left and the right are still available. But that's a whole nother discussion.
There was a point when they could turn it into anaglyph. I don't know what they have. It's not a high point of cinema.
No. There's probably an anaglyph VHS out there or something. I don't know. That said, thank you, Steve. And thank you, everyone who participated in tonight's very challenging symmetry special topic. The first and probably the last symmetry special topic that we'll have. I know this was a frustrating one. So thank you, everyone, for participating or for trying to participate. As I said, I thought I had a couple and they really were so unremarkable that I kept them hidden. We're not done yet. We're going to transition into our workshop tonight, and we're going to start out our workshop with 4 open division stereo photos by Jay. Jay wasn't able to join us last week, but he submitted some really interesting photos that we're going to enjoy now. So Jay, if you're with us, what's coming up now is called Cypress.
Yeah, so a little day trip, visit this Cypress tree tunnel, pasted the Google Maps on there. At the very end is a historic radio station, and just took cha-chas with my cell phone. So it's a bit hyper. Did a series so I could choose the ones that worked right. And I was lucky that person was not moving.
Yeah, I think your bass is really effective.
Oh, it's spectacular. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really cool location.
Looks like some people in the far distance moved, but they're pretty small.
It also meets today's special.
Oh,
Kind of. There's a stump on the left that's not reflected on the right. That tree didn't make it.
I think this is still qualifies as symmetrical.
It's pretty symmetrical. And Jay, what coast was this? Is this West Coast or East Coast?
No, it's like an hour away from here.
Yeah, I've never seen this before.
Yeah. The maplet's in there if you just Google Cypress Tree Tunnel.
What a great subject for stereo.
Yeah.
what town is it?
You mean what time did he take the photo?
Oh,
No, what
Um,
town? What town is this in?
Oh, the
It's
town.
on the way to the
town?
ocean, going out to Point Reyes.
Oh,
yeah. Not sure what town. Let's see. In Inverness.
Inverness. Okay.
Jay,
Yeah.
is this the link, the map link that you just put in the chat? Cypress Tree Tunnel, there it is.
Yeah.
It's the site of a very famous Coast Guard rescue station. and there's some wonderful stories connected to it. About a guy who was working there, and a ship crashed on the rocks outside, and he swam out and saved some sailors, and that guy was Clint Eastwood.
Wow.
It's a great location.
I'm looking at it on the map, and for those who are following along on Zoom, Jay has put the Google Maps link to this location in there. Yeah, I see the Marine radio station.
And there's a great cemetery nearby as well. It's very picturesque. You have to hike up to it.
You know, we were on our way back from one of the beaches, which you'll probably see in a future, next month maybe.
I've taken some great photos at Drake's Beach in this general area. Can't wait to see them.
If we get a another major solar storm and auroras, I'm going to try to get some pictures up around there.
Oh yeah.
I've kind of scouted out a spot in Google Earth that I think will be pretty dark and north facing.
It's right near an elk preserve, so if you're into kind of stalking the elks, we saw a bunch on the way back. I didn't have a long enough lens to really capture them. And
I didn't even know we had elks on the West Coast.
Yeah.
It's they're Thule elks, and if you drive out to Pierce Point, which is another wonderful photographic site, there's a whole herd there that travels around. You can usually get a sighting.
All right. Well, thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
This has been very inspiring, and this is just your first photo. Your next title let's see, there we go. The next title that will be popping up by Jay is Tibetan Dancers.
Yeah. And Catherine told me she thinks they're Indian, not Tibetan. This was the Tibetan fair I had told you guys about.
Right.
So yeah, I had a great spot and took a lot of pictures with the Lume Pad. So pretty much straight out of the Lume Pad, bit of cropping.
So other than Cha-Cha's, is the Lume Pad, are you using it as your primary stereo camera now?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really been going out shooting much. And Mermaid Parade, I'm going back to the W3 with an external flash. I might even skip the Camera Pro this year.
Oh, really?
Just because I'm going to be handing out postcards and
Sure.
so if I want to concentrate on using the flash. And I won't have an assistant, so it's too much to handle.
Well, you've submitted some really nice photos taken with that Lume Pad. You know, I just never think to use my Lume Pad camera.
Yeah,
But it's nice.
And-
It's good.
yeah. And Nemo said that he fought for on the next version to have the flash aside from the lens, not between them.
Oh, that's great.
So it took him like 4 meetings to do that.
Well, that's something Fuji couldn't figure out. So kudos to
Oh,
them.
and the spatial camera has right between the lenses.
It just that really says something. It really shows how little how little the concept of stereo photography is actually understood by these camera manufacturers.
Yeah.
They're just making the same mistakes. Well, I like this one a lot. It's nice that I like that there are the two women on the left. The one that's in the back, she's blocked, but we can see her face, and that is less of a problem to me in stereo than it is in 2D, where it kind of looks like there's a dancer with like a smaller woman growing out of her side or something. That's what stereo gives us.
Is it possible to zoom in on this picture a little bit?
I can zoom in on Zoom, yes.
Yeah, just because it's a little small on my screen. That's perfect. Yeah.
Well, I think I can do that to the YouTube's. Oh, no, that. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here.
Does this picture have a black border on it or something?
I think it
No,
does.
but maybe oh, yeah, maybe because I just hit the format for the submission.
That's probably why it's a little
Yeah.
small on your screen, Steve, because it does have built-in borders. The file does.
Actually, prefer the zoomed in cropping in there that kind of gets rid of the guy who's looking away in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like this composition better. And the depth is more pronounced now. And I definitely see the face of the woman in the background. Yeah, this is really nice. Jay, you're getting some good
Thanks.
stuff out of that Lume Pad.
Yeah, really nice color too, and being so close to the stage, it's nice and intimate. It's like you're one of the dancers. All right, let me return this to the original format, and we've got another one more from Jay from the Tibetan Festival. And the title is Tibetan Felt Garlands.
Yeah, this might have been a symmetrical. Almost. Yeah, just interested in hanging up in one of the vendor booths. And yeah, also Lume Pad.
Yeah, I think that's the right distance from the subject for the Lume Pad. If one of those Tibetan dancers was behind this garland, I think you'd really have something. But as it is, it's got a lot of depth. All right, thank you, Jay. Yes, I am more and more inspired to actually take my Lume Pad out of the house and take pictures with it. It's more than just a fancy 3D screen, I know. So up next, thank you, Jay. And it's so great to see you again. Sorry we missed you last week. These were great photos. I'm going to put Oleg up on the stage now. Oleg submitted 4 photos in our open session last week, and he got a lot of feedback about them, and he has made adjustments, fixes he calls them, to all of them. So I've got the before and afters that we can look at, and I can toggle back and forth if we want. And we will start with Welcome to Spring at Hillview Estates. I'm sure a lot of us will recognize this from last week. This is the original. Oleg, do you want to describe what we're seeing before I move on to the fixed version?
This was what happened was I took placed the window behind. I placed everything behind the window, and this one didn't look too much better when I placed the poster on the bottom left forward of the window. The picture was stronger on my TV set when I brought it forward.
Well, let's take a look at that one.
Yeah, I think I like the original better. Pretty Grace.
Yeah, here it's a flip of a coin for me. The other three were much more, much stronger with the forward placement.
Let me go back and forward a couple times so that we can see it and get some context for this adjustment.
Now, which one are we looking at now? Is this the original?
Right now on the YouTube stream, we're looking at the original, and the fixed version will pop up with the that poster in the lower right-hand corner a bit more forward. Is it through the window, Oleg?
Yeah, it is through the window in the fix.
So on the Zoom, we're looking right now at the fixed version.
Correct. Yes.
Yes, that was the fixed one.
Yeah, I think I like the fixed one better.
It's a little more. Yeah, I like it better fixed, but it's a minor change.
Yeah, they're very similar, but there does seem to be a little bit more depth in the one you fixed.
Apparent depth, because all I did was bring it forward. Didn't do any manipulation.
Well, the verb I used was seem, so I guess that means apparent.
Yeah, I think it's effective. It's slightly in front of the window, but it's not causing any violations. It's not intersecting any borders or anything like that. It's not like you had to put in a false frame or anything to make that work. Okay, thanks, Oleg. Let's look at the original of your next example. We will recall this title being Desert View on Pacific Coast Highway.
Now this one definitely looked weak the way it is now. And if you toggle to the fix, it seems a lot stronger.
Let me move forward here. This change is a bit more dramatic. So it looks like you've cropped off quite a bit from the bottom.
Well, I didn't crop off anything. I just brought it forward, and when you bring it forward, some of the picture disappears.
Oh, I see. Sure. And now you've got a bit of the back of that truck through the window.
No, the truck is not through the window.
Not
He's
at all?
way back. He's way back. It just the mural there is forward.
The mural is through the window.
But I like that. Like on my TV set, it's sort of two different worlds. One is forward with the window, and the other one is behind the window. And one of the things I liked about this picture is the slope of the mountains is the same on both the mural and in the real life.
Kind of a similar angle.
Yeah.
But you have cropped off a fair bit from the bottom. The top is the same, but the bottom is cropped.
Yeah, I guess I did.
And it's okay. It's
Well, the thing is, what was down there was the dirt. There's nothing there. This way, it's cleaner.
I'll go back and forth a few times so we can see the before and after.
I think maybe just a tad more showing would be nice. It's a little tightly cropped.
A bit more road you're suggesting, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I like seeing that it's obviously a trailer with tires and a road there. So I like cropping, but not maybe quite as much as this. And I'd still love to see the painting on the truck be in 3D also.
I think there's a weird interaction going on with the cropping plus the mural through the window, because if I pull the stereo window back on the cropped version, that sort of tension goes away. Maybe a little extra at the ground at the bottom would help, but it's but the combination of the two is really kind of weird.
And on the Lume, the Lume Pad has that ground totally in shadow for me. Could be my settings here, though. But
It looks the same for me too, Bob. Yeah, and
I love the concept. Love the composition. Really nice.
As usual, I have to wait for that truck to come by.
Yeah. Still be, I'm so tempted to convert that image to 3D on the truck.
Well, Oleg, you've done that in compositions. I think we're going to see one of your compositions tonight doing something very similar. Okay, thanks, Oleg. Our next Fix-It is entrance to Pacific Park, Santa Monica. And this is the original that we saw last week. Give it a few moments to come up on everyone's screens. Okay, that should be popping up about now. Oleg, do you want me to jump to the fixed version of Pacific Park, Santa Monica?
Yeah, on my TV, this is just a so-so picture. But when I brought it forward, then it seemed to be more interesting.
And that version will be popping right up here.
Yeah, and I agree. I think the difference is dramatic.
One of the things in the composition that I liked was the blue hole and the blue strip on the floor. It kind of separates the picture.
Now you cropped this top and bottom, is that correct?
The bottom, I think I left the top the same.
The top is cropped also.
Top is cropped, yeah.
They're both cropped. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a much more pleasing composition now.
Yeah, it uses the whole frame. It's more immersive, I think.
Let me go back and forth a few times.
There's no reason for all that stuff at the bottom.
Yeah, but we all kind of do it. It's I guess the instinct is that we don't want to cut away anything that has nice pixels.
Well,
But
the problem is with the original, the foreground is all that floor, and everything else is kind of a background. Here, now the front is the truth.
Right, you just have to think. You have to think to try it. It's just one of those things that doesn't come naturally. We have to just experiment a bit, and it's too easy to get sort of attached to elements that aren't really adding to whatever was interesting about the original image.
I think
Really?
Oleg's photography in general is usually so expert and beautifully composed and beautiful colors that there's a natural instinct to just keep whatever you have. Although this one for me was a no-brainer because there was nothing going on at the bottom and nothing going on at the top. It was, to me, it was just shouting out, get rid of the boring parts.
I mean, if that's your instinct, that's great.
It isn't
For me,
usually with Oleg. I always go like, oh my God, I wish I had his eye, but this one was different. I mean, I think it's a great photo. It's one of my favorites from last week, but I did say like maybe you don't need that. I might even suggest it. I can't remember.
it was a good suggestion. It's surprising what a difference it makes for me.
For me, it kind of changes the whole tone of the photo. The original one, I felt more like a spectator. In the tighter version, this feels more like an entrance, like I'm going to be passing through this portal instead of just observing it, which is the sense I got with the original version. And
Yeah, that's why I called it immersive. It's
yeah, that's the best.
rather
word
than
for
being
it.
like a witness or something. It's
Yeah.
or a record. It's not a record. It's a scene. It's a place. It's a happening.
Yeah, I think you articulated it better than I did. That's exactly how I feel about this this change, this fix.
The way I thought about it was in the original, the people up front were the middle ground, and that Pacific Park entrance was started the background. In the new version, the Pacific Park thing is a middle ground instead of being a background. And that's part of the reason why it's stronger.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm just going to switch back and forth one more time to see that change. Yeah, very much so. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Oleg. We've got one more fix from you. This is a fix from last week again. The title is Freeway Cutting Through College Campus. And Bob, I think with this one you're going to get your 2D to 3D effect from the desert view on Pacific Coast Highway. Oleg has made a little conversion in here.
Yeah, I couldn't get. I would have taken a picture of that freeway mural, but there was not enough. It was too close, so I had to get that. I don't know what you call that building there. That had to be in the picture, and that means it sort of made that mural in the background weak.
Well, let's take a look at the fixed version. So as this pops up on our screens, tell us what you've done here. It looks like you've taken some off the bottom. Doesn't look like you've really lost any part of the image. Is that what you've done here?
Yeah, I also brightened the mural.
And
What
that kiosk is now right at the window too, I see. More or less.
The thing that struck me about this particular vantage point is that the pavement in the foreground has a almost identical vanishing point as the mural. And even on the very right-hand side, that is vanishing also in the same way as the mural.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, you said you brightened the mural.
Yeah, I wanted the mural to stand out. Maybe I did that.
Yeah, I think it looked better in the original.
Yeah, that's another fix it.
Let me go back and forth here.
Yeah, the overall composition may be better in. Yeah, this looks. Actually, the whole thing looks better. Did you brighten all of it? Because
No, I didn't. I don't think I did.
maybe it's.
But I need more contrast. See, you're right. In the mural, there should be more contrast.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is. I think the whole original is darker. I'm looking at like the trees and the sky. I could be wrong about that. Also, the red roof in the foreground. I think they all seemed a little bit less overexposed, or more, more properly exposed.
Yeah,
This
I
seems
see
a
the
little
same
bit
thing.
washed out.
I think that if the goal was to really draw the eye into the mural, there's a competing force with the with how open the image is on the right hand side, which sort of makes the kiosk like the center of interest. But I think if you if you crop the left edge into the kiosk itself, then it draws the eye from right to left.
You're cropping from the right or from the left?
If you crop so that the left edge goes through the kiosk, so the right hand edge of the kiosk, you can see the sky behind it, right? Sky and a bench and tree and stuff to the right of the kiosk. So if you just cut all that away, then the kiosk becomes the left edge of the image, and the eye naturally is then free to go into the left hand.
You mean the right edge of the image, right?
Oh, what did I say? Sorry.
Left.
Yeah, if the right edge of the image cuts into the kiosk, then the whole space of the image is on the left.
Yeah.
And the eye doesn't keep coming back to the kiosk.
Yeah, I think I'll make that change. But then you lose that bit of the
I think Melinda has a really good point overall, not just the cropping, but there's so much going on in this foreground kiosk that it's hard not to look at that. There's, all the little posters, the flyers, and then stuff sticking on the walls. And there's just an endless amount of things going on that you have to work to look behind it. You'd almost have to just paint it out to make the other thing look interesting.
the way it is now is much better.
Yeah, I agree.
I appreciate that.
So I'm cropping it as Melinda suggested on our various streams.
Can you crop out the left edge of the kiosk?
Let me crop out the left too. Let me make sure that I'm getting.
Or sorry, the
this
right. I'm sorry. I mean,
So yeah, what I've done is I've
very
cropped out
confusing.
Just,
the right
yeah.
part of it.
like the
left
like the
left.
right hand quarter of the image.
Yeah, Melinda, that's a good call because it puts the mural more in the center, and it does bring more attention to that.
If that's
Well,
the intention, I think it helps.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad we went through this. I'm going to fix this, get more contrast in the mural and crop it like Melinda wanted. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Melinda. That was a great suggestion.
Sure.
Let me know when you're in the valley.
All right. So we're fixed and we're fixed. Well, thank you, Oleg, for putting in all that effort and showing us the work that you did. A stereo photo is worth 2,000 words. And this was the best way to do it. I'm going to stop my share right now. As I said, we don't have a poll tonight because we had kind of a small group. And we've actually seen all of our stereo photos. So we are, we're coming out a little bit early tonight. I would like to open up the floor for discussion. Lee, I know that you had some questions about my cameras. I'd be happy to talk about those now or later. But before I dominate the meeting, let me open this up to anyone else who has anything that they would like to share or add or anything stereo related to bring up.
Matt, could you say a few words about the special next month?
The special next month, yeah, I'd be happy to. What is the special next month? The special next month is humor. We've had humor specials before. This is, pretty much open to interpretation. It's, going to be a funny subject or funny action. I'm trying to think of specific examples, but I know that I've certainly seen photos in our open divisions in these past few months that had humorous elements to them. So they don't have to be hilarious, but anything that tells a story, has a humorous subject, is fair game. I'm trying to recall the last time we had a humor special, and it's probably been a couple years. I don't think we had one last year, so I'll have to look into that. Let's see. I'm not going to make you watch me dig through my archives, but I'm sure there's something. Once I track it down, probably not during this meeting, but Jack, maybe I can send you some galleries of some examples of some
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
humor subjects. So Lee, I know that you were looking into, sounds like you're looking to upgrade your cameras. Yes, and it looks like you're having some sort of technical normalcy right now. Okay. Well, if you can't figure that out tonight, I'd be happy to talk to you about this. Send me an email. Maybe we can talk tomorrow night or later tonight or whatever. Is anyone here using Stereo Data Maker to synchronize Canon point and shoot cameras? This was a solution that was pretty popular with stereo photographers when Canon was making point and shoot cameras. And I know there's still some out there. Anyone know what I'm talking about? Jay knows. I'm not clear if it's still being updated. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, I know Lee was trying. I shot with a pair of Canon SD-1000s for years, as recently as maybe a year or two ago, before I got my Sonys. And I got some great photos.
Yeah, the website's saying 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that at least some of the cameras that it supports are still available, maybe as new old stock.
Oh yeah, eBay.
eBay, of course, yeah. I've never had bad luck, knock on wood, buying used cameras off eBay. But you just never know how many exposures that camera's actually taken. Well, one thing I'm trying to put together is another in-person event here somewhere in the East Bay. Having trouble finding venues. Venues, as I've said before, affordable places where we can set up our 3D TV and meet for a few hours are kind of rare now, post-pandemic. I've been looking at some community spaces and some libraries, and I'm not completely satisfied with the spaces. If anyone has an idea of somewhere, preferably somewhere inexpensive, that would allow us to set up our 3D TV, let me know, because I'm really anxious to put together another live in-person event, and I just need a place to set up.
Well, I nominate your house.
We could do it at my house. I've actually, um, well, I've actually sort of rearranged the house around the 3D TV now. I've moved it into another room, its own room, mounted it to a wall. I'm so just terrified of this thing breaking. I've sort of created a shrine for it. So yeah, might be able to do that. What I would really like is a venue where we can invite just anybody, members of the public can drift in.
Matt, there's a film co-op, sort of studio space in Richmond. I'm gonna have to look in my calendar and see. I've been to a couple of meetings of filmmakers in this space. It's really like a place to shoot, like a small stage. But I remember talking to the people running it, and it's a really shoestring operation.
Yeah.
So they may, if they're not being occupied, they may be open to it.
Yeah.
It's also a place. It's got a big green screen there. So
Are they at the Bridge art space? Does that sound familiar?
um it's
Probably not.
I think it's just off of Cutting.
Okay. Well, I'll poke around, and if if you remember the name, just email it to me or something. I'd love to talk to
Yeah.
them.
I'll look. Might be able to just go on the map because I kind of remember how I got there.
There can't be a whole lot around Cutting. I mean, in terms of like art spaces or
Yeah,
creative
it's
spaces.
a little out of the way place, but there's a whole arts community there. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'll check that out. The one big challenge in finding a space is the cost of insurance, which is something no one ever charged us before. And now that just adds hundreds of dollars to the rental of the space. So if this is an arts group operating on a shoestring budget, that might be right up our alley. We might need something a little off the grid to suit our needs. So okay, I'll check that out. Thank you.
I'll see what I can find out
Yeah.
and be in touch with you.
Lee, don't stress about your microphone. Maybe we can talk tomorrow or Thursday night. Be happy to talk your ear off about them. So as many of you know, I shoot with these little cameras. These little Sonys. Well, these are upside down. My little Sonys right here. There they are. And they're great cameras. And I destroyed one, not intentionally, because the sync port, this little port here, which is where the sync cable plugs in, is very delicate. The camera itself is rugged. You could drive over it with your car. You can drop it off a building. But that one little design flaw means you have to be very gentle with your sync cables. And after having that experience, I updated my review of these cameras, which is on the Golden Gate Stereoscopic Society's website. So if you're interested in that tale of woe, check out the website. This is a review that I wrote, I think last year, and revisited it actually just today. I've been meaning to update it for a while. And long story short, I still like these cameras. I still recommend them with a few caveats. So read the review and Lee will talk later. Yeah, I originally posted that. Oh, it wasn't that long ago. It was October 2023. I'll put that in the chat. And I see that, Jay, thanks for putting that Stereo Data Maker link in the chat too. Well, let me share this real quick. Why not? There we go. I think you can all see that. Actually, let me shrink that down a little bit. Yeah, Stereo Data Maker 2016. Okay. And that's one thing to know about Stereo Data Maker, of course. You do have to make a remote switch. Lee, that's something that I like about my Sonys. When they're synchronized, you can just hit the shutter button on either camera. Stereo Data Maker, you need to have some soldering skills in order to make a switch. There were people selling them. You might be able to find someone on the 3D Photo Groups IO discussion board who's willing to make one for you. I had made one out of a flashlight. It was bigger than the cameras. That's about the limit of my soldering skill, but it worked. All right. Well, if no one has anything else they'd like to add, I'd like to thank everyone again for making it to our second meeting in June. I'll continue looking for live space venues for something this summer. And our next meeting, make sure I've got that information here. Yes. So our next meeting will be in July. It's I don't even have my calendar in front of me. So anyway, I'll see everyone on the first Tuesday of July. That's not the 4th, is it? No, that's the 2nd. So I'll see everyone on the 2nd of July. That'll be our open division slideshow. Our special division slideshow will be the following week, July 9th, and that topic is humor. Now, in years past, July and August have been kind of wild card months in terms of attendance. People who have good sense are usually out of town in July and August. So some months we have like just you and me, and some years we have just you and me in July and August. Some years we've got a full house in July and August. So it'll be interesting what happens next month. I can't predict it, but I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. And I'll talk to you later this week, Lee. And if anyone has anything they'd like to share for next month, any workshops, any projects, just let me know, and I'll make time for them. Until then, yes, thumbs up, Steve.
Wait, there's one thing I wanted to mention.
Oh, yeah, take it away, Oleg.
For the last 10 minutes or so, you have been in 3D in my brain.
I've been in 3D in your brain?
Yes, I'm looking at you right now, and you're in 3D. The Golden Gate Society is behind you. The microphone is in front of you, and your head is 3D.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
So this is how you're
It could be,
perceiving me, right?
Pardon?
This is how you're perceiving me right now, because I'm definitely
That-
not.
That's the way it looks to my mind.
That could be a color parallax because he's got, the red of his skin tones are in front and the background is blue. So there's a natural 3D effect there.
Why are you smoking now?
That happens to me sometimes.
You don't need a 3D conversion with whatever Oleg is going through right now. Well, Oleg, I'll tell you that for the past couple years, 2 or 3 years, I will sometimes dream in 3D. And the dream is I'm looking at a landscape or something, and then it'll just kind of it'll pop into stereo as if I've put on 3D glasses. But I'm dreaming this. And that's all that happens in these dreams. And it's often a different subject. But I have something similar going on too. It's like after a night of watching 3D movies or something, my brain just can't turn it off. And it's doing these kind of 3D conversions for me, or it's just thinking about perceiving the world in 3D. So, yeah, Jay.
Yeah, have you guys posted on Nextdoor for a meeting space?
That's not a bad idea. I'm on Nextdoor. I actually
And I'll post too, because you reach different people than I would.
right. Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll post on Nextdoor. Nextdoor will cover, my neighborhood of Richmond. It'll also cover Point Richmond, which is a region where we've met before. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind doing that, I'll do the same. We'll see what comes up. We
Matt.
we got a great bar that opened up in my neighborhood, the Factory. If you're driving down San Pablo Avenue and come by it, I highly recommend it. They have a meeting space, but they want $1,000 for us to meet there.
Okay, Matt, on that subject.
Yes.
I think it's called the Milk Bar.
The Milk Bar.
I found something in
Milk
Richmond.
Bar.
It looks like what I recall is, found it on Google Maps. So you can look that up. I can give you a little bit more information real quick here. It looks like it's at 241 South First Street in Richmond.
It's at milkbar.org. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Filming and rehearsals. Hey, they've got a
Yeah.
donate link, so yeah, that's right up our alley. They're definitely operating on a shoestring. Okay, I've got this website up. Let me reach out to them and, see if there's any way we could make this space work. Thank you. Yeah, this is a great suggestion.
Okay, good. Glad I could help.
Yeah.
So is it like styled after A Clockwork Orange or something?
Not that I recall. I don't know. Maybe that's where they got it. Or maybe they're teetotalers. I don't know.
I'll put the link in the
That's
chat.
the only milk bar I've ever heard of. Yeah. That would be fascinating too. It's an interesting,
Well, when you
interesting
contact them,
space.
you can ask them.
Yeah, this is look at this. I'm reading their rental rates. $20 an hour for occasional rentals with a minimum of 3 hours. That's less than what the Albany Community Center charged us before the pandemic. So unless this hasn't been updated in like 20 years, which is a possibility. That would
I
certainly
saw some
work.
listings of events that are 2024. So
Yeah.
they are updating stuff.
Okay, well,
Um,
great. This is a great tip. I'll reach out to him.
All right. Hope it works out.
Yeah.
As I recall, there's plenty of places to park around
What's the
there.
neighborhood like? What
It's sort of
part of
industrialized
Richmond is
Richmond.
the Milk Bar?
Well, you live in Richmond.
I know, and there are some areas of Richmond that I don't visit that often, that I intentionally avoid.
This may be one of those. It's not terrible. I mean, I
You've been
parked
there
there.
and survived.
It's a lot of artists have workspaces there, have studios there. So it's a little bohemian, but not, it's not, it's not the Tenderloin or anything.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fine. Since you survived,
And I lived.
and in defense of the city of Richmond, I love the city. I encourage people to move here, to visit here. It's,
And where else but Richmond are you going to get $20 an hour?
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Richmond remains kind of sort of affordable for the Bay Area. It's all relative, of course. All right. Well, this is great. These are some great tips. I'll follow up on these. It's just been too long since we've seen each other in person, and I'd love to get the 3D TV out. The last public event that we did was actually Maker Faire, and that's going to be like a year in October. And I don't know if I've got it in me to do Maker Faire again, but I definitely want to do something. So if anyone has any ideas, I'm happy to hear them. If not now, just email them to me, and we'll see what we can do. And yeah, Melinda, we could probably do something for this group at my house. And Peter, and Lee, you'd have to join us on Zoom, of course. Mike, Jay, hopefully you'll be on this coast, but that's always an option. Also, we've done that before.
I don't want to push you into it, of course,
No, I just got a new driveway. I'd love to show it off. It's not a very good subject for stereo. It's just flat, but yeah, that's how exciting my life is.
Well, and you have a whole 3D shrine now too.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. We've got a whole 3D room now. Still watching those Hamilton books, cheap Blu-ray 3Ds in that room. All right. I'm just looking around. Let's see. We talked about Buona Devil. That'll be out at the end of the month. And let's see. Steve, you saw Garfield. I'm not aware of any other 3D titles playing right now. We need Tor
Well, in
for
a few
that.
days, Inside Out 2, which Advance Word is good.
And Inside Out 2 is released, I think, on the 14th.
14th, this Friday.
I think that'll be one. That one will certainly have excellent 3D.
Well, have you guys heard of the announcements from Apple about their headset?
Did they make any announcements today?
Yeah, well, yesterday.
Yesterday.
Excuse me. They're going to do stereo conversions of your whole picture raw.
All right.
Yeah.
So they're going to have their own 2D to 3D conversion tool. Mm-hmm. I imagine it's probably going to be just integrated with the headset.
Just integrated, just like the layer pad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Interesting. I totally overlooked that announcement because, of course, everything was about their Siri AI. That's what's getting a lot of the buzz.
They made a lot of improvements to their OS. It's version 2 now.
And I understand that they do have a 3D movie library for rental, I guess, for the headset. That to me seems like kind of a no-brainer. Like, why didn't Meta do that out of the box with their headset? But that's why they need stereo experts like us to tell them these obvious things, like don't put the flash between the lenses.
Oh, they were ignoring stuff that John Carmack was trying to get them to do.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. That's part of the reasons he dropped out. He was really pushing for the VR 180 format in stereo. And their shared public world Horizons, where they have rock concerts and things, aren't even in 3D half the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Could you guys put a link to what you're speaking of? I missed the name of the company and everything.
We're talking
Apple.
about the Apple
Apple. Okay.
Apple headset. Sounds like they've updated the operating system for it.
Yeah.
2.0. Sounds like there have been some improvements. One of those improvements being 2D to 3D conversion, which would be right up your alley, Peter Sinclair. Peter, did you see my conversion last week? Were you here last
Don't
week?
recall it. I'm not sure.
My
No.
astronaut conversion?
Can you post it right now?
Let me see if I have that handy. I don't know if I have it handy, but let me see what I can do here.
I'm gonna log off now.
Yeah, we'll wrap this up. Thank you, Steve, for your suggestions and for sharing your photography and giving us your opinions. And I will see you no later than the second Tuesday of next month, if not
Yeah.
sooner.
See me soon. Yeah. Okay. Or next month. Yeah. If not sooner. Bye-bye.
Adios. All right, Peter, let me pull this up for you here. I was just very proud of it because I was inspired by your workshop, even though I ended up not making any corrections on it at all. There it is.
That's the best if you can do it.
Well, so as I was saying, let me share my screen here. I'm just going to show this as a side-by-side on Zoom. Did I show this
Wow.
to you, Peter?
You just outdid me. Fantastic. Congratulations.
Well,
That is
it
a
was-
fabulous conversion.
It was Leapix that did this. And as you probably know, Leapix has changed their name to Immersify, I think it is. Let me put this up on our other streams too. And they have a new AI model, whatever it is, that has really improved the accuracy of the conversions. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because I had originally tried running this photo through the Leapix converter before your workshop. That would have been back in March. And it did an okay job, but it really just got lost with that scroll. You know, the scroll was kind of pseudo, it was stuck in the wall. It was a problem, and I was intimidated and I put it aside. Then after your workshop, I thought, okay, I get these depth maps now. I'm going to go in. I kind of have an idea of how I can fix that. And I ran it through Leapix again, which is now Immersify. And this is what came out. There are some errors, but it's just so much better than the version that I got just 2 months ago. So my point with this is just that they've already greatly increased the capabilities of that conversion tool. And fixes are still necessary, but it looks like it's just getting better and better.
If I say that's fantastic the way it is.
Yeah, I didn't touch it.
Don't think it needs a thing.
And Leapix, it positioned the scroll at the window, that edge there. There's some distortion with the scroll. The real error that I can see is behind the astronaut. This is Richard Truly, I think his name was. I got this photo out of his obituary in the New York Times. This is on the Space Shuttle Columbia in 1981. Hence the paper. You can see behind them those kinds of, they're like microwave oven type, these sort of boxes or crates. And you can see that they kind of merge into that rear wall there when there really should be space behind them.
Wow,
That's the only.
you got better eyes than I have. I wouldn't even have spotted it.
I looked at this photo for a long time, and we talked about this quite a bit too.
Well,
But other than
some
that,
of my
I mean,
old
it's really
work I
nice.
should throw into the new Leah pics right now, because I've had ones I had to work on for a long time. Maybe if I just re-engage them, they'd pop out like this thing that you've got.
It would be
A lot of
interesting
work.
to kind of compare the before and the after, and see what they've fixed and what you still have to correct for. It'd be an interesting experiment. I'm just running my old family photos through this thing now and just kind of having fun
Oh,
with it.
I'm glad that you're into these. Correct. You doing your family photos is everything you'd ever want to do
Yeah.
on these things.
And they're great on the Lume Pad. They're good enough. So anyway.
Well, you're being very modest. I can't see anything to improve on it. It's fabulous.
Well, if you can thank the AI for that.
Hey,
So
you got
I
the
wanted to
right
make sure you
tool
saw
there.
that. And thank you again for that workshop.
Thank you.
was
I
very
hadn't seen
inspired.
that one. Thank you for showing it. I'm
Things are
very
just
pleased with what you did.
changing so fast. So I'm very curious to see what, well, I don't have the headset, but I'll be curious to know what Apple does with their 2D to 3D conversion. I mean, that's a selling point right there in my mind.
Did you put that through Stereo Photo Maker or anything, or just straight out of the Leah
Straight out
side
of
by
the
side
Laypics.
here?
Yeah. I didn't crop it. I didn't rotate it. I let it do all the work. And that is just how it, I mean, I think I might have resized it, but that's just how it came out of the converter app.
Because some of mine I want to make into lenticulars, and I've got to really make the disparity huge for a lenticular. So I have to enter anything from Leah into Stereo Photo Maker, crank the disparity up, and then suddenly all kinds of artifacts and smears come along. But that's not what a normal side-by-side person would want to do, so it's nothing you should worry about.
I'm going to put the link, I mean, the old layapix.com link still works, but I'm going to put in the link with their new name in the chat, just so you know what I'm talking about. And Immersity.ai, yeah, that's who they are.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that another thing is that they've redesigned the website, the old Layapix, now Immersity. It's a little easier to use, and I think it's a little easier to find the adjustments. So you might be able to get your lenticular needs met right out of the conversion app. That I'm not sure, but I've noticed that there seem to be more options now. And it was more intuitive for me to get a regular side-by-side exported out of it than it had been in the past. There's just a big button for it now. So it seems to me like they're really listening and responding to our feedback. And it's been a long time since anyone's listened to us stereo photographers. So that's great. They're good in my book.
Yeah. Well, getting that preview stereo 3D side-by-side that you can do without purchasing yet is good, because if you have a real dog that can't do it well, don't bother with the continuation to the purchase part.
Yeah, and you can still download a
helps.
free watermarked version So if you're too cheap to pay the pennies per conversion, depending on the kind of credit package that you buy, you can still play around with it for free. Totally worth experimenting with.
Have you tried a video on that yet? The immersion? I haven't
I have
tried
not,
one.
and I believe that it does do 2D to 3D video conversions now. I don't know much about it. Can you confirm that, Jay?
I think Joe did a conversion of Pete Seeger a few weeks ago, a short video. Not Pete Seeger, Peter, Paul, and Mary,
Okay.
because it was the anniversary of what's his name? I'm blanking out on his name.
It's late.
Oh, Lenny Lipton, the guy that wrote
Lenny
Puff the
Lipton, yes.
Magic
Yeah.
Dragon guy.
Yeah.
Right. Developer of
So-
Real D.
Leo
Do you
Pix
just
did the
load
video.
it? Would you just load a video in like an MP4, push go, and then out pops the 3D thing to
Yep.
your download?
Yep.
Wow, I gotta give it a try.
I think it's like $3 a minute.
Ah, that's pretty good because
Yeah.
I've got a 56 second of my ex-wife, not ex-wife, my deceased wife, playing sports, which she never did, and I'd love to just convert that for our daughter to look at.
Yeah.
So 56 seconds sounds like about $2.95 on this.
I mean, where are you going to get that done
It's
cheaper?
discrete. It could be 2 seconds or 58 seconds, same price.
Oh, I see. Every minute kicks
Yeah,
in.
and if it's 61 seconds, it's 2 credit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good to
Oh,
know.
thank you for the tip there, Jay. More to play with, as always.
Of course, I've done 2D to 3D movie conversions on my Lume Pad, but that is not as good. It's not really using the power of the AI that they have on their servers, and you can't. Well, at least I don't think you could record them or save them. It just does the conversion in real time. So I'll be very curious about this new feature on Immersity.ai as well, formerly Leapix. And Nima is our. Thank you, Jay, for putting that X link in the chat. Nima is our. He's our advocate. He's definitely listening to us, and he's got the tech knowledge to know where things are going. Well, all right.
I'm going to pack it in. It's a little late for me now.
It's a lot late for you. Thanks
Good.
for staying up. We'll see you next month.
Yep.
Let's,
Take care, everybody.
Yep, you too.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, all. I'm going to shut it down. Thanks for sticking around. Had a great time. Great seeing everyone. Keep shooting. Keep watching 3D. We'll talk about it again next month. Lee, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.